What's up, everybody? It's hashtag homeless, day 52, and I'm sticking to the plan of going to church today. But after that, I'm not gonna walk around with my camera all day and just relax. I'm gonna go to crazy ass Tim Hortons and sit with my laptop and try to get some things done. That's what I want to do. So many things to talk about. The homeless shelter. I was so tired this morning. I didn't want to walk to the church that I planned on going to. And they have a chapel in the homeless shelter, and a pastor comes in every Sunday. And I love the guy. He's great. He's a really cool dude. The church service starts in about an hour. And after we ate breakfast, I sat there, and just so much craziness going on, and so many things. Finally, I just was like, I got to get out of here. If I have to sit in this place for another hour and a half waiting for church, I'm going to go nuts. So I grabbed my bag and I left. Now I am going to walk up to the church that I planned on going to this week. We'll see how it goes. I'll need about half an hour to walk there, half an hour to walk back, and then I'm just going to go to crazy Tim Hortons. I'm getting sick of having to spend money on coffee and food and stuff like that just so that I can have a place to sit and work. God keeps providing. It doesn't seem to matter what I need. The means to the need end up materializing in one way or form. But I just want to get a job. I just want to get something. I mean, I applied for an HVAC job at a company that does plumbing and construction and all of that last week, and that was a direct referral from somebody who had come into the shelter looking for people who are willing to work. And, I'm sure they'll find a way to not give me the time of day, because, you worked on computers, you're not one of us. Oh, you have a criminal record, even though, they seemed like they were desperate for people. But I don't know. I'm going to try not to be negative. And, it's corporate holiday week. It's like 5 Sundays in a row where there's just absolutely nothing going on and no momentum, no forward movement. And I think that's digging into me. It feels like I've lived 5 consecutive Sundays in a row because of the 4th of July holiday, and everything is stalled. So, these holidays are only nice if if your life isn't a complete train wreck. Christmas sucks when you're someone like me right now. If my situation hasn't changed by Christmas, that's going to be probably the most depressing day of the year. People who are down and out don't enjoy these days off that you all get to have your barbecues and stuff. It's not fun for us. Let's see. I'm going to go over to my notes. So, yeah, but aside from, I gotta, even though I've said the negative things about the shelter, I'm always going to talk about the positive things that go with it. This is, I'm just telling the truth. I'm telling you guys things that, I'm just saying it like it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's a crappy experience. So yesterday, 2 things about the shelter. One, I was watching some YouTube videos, and I do occasionally I look up different videos about the homeless, just to see what other people go through and, what this experience is like. And there was a video of a guy in Los Angeles, Hollywood or whatever. One guy built himself a tiny little house right on the sidewalk, and the city can't kick him out yet. And I thought that was hysterical. He put it on wheels or something so he can wheel it out of the way when the street cleaners come or whatever. But that was kind of funny. But ironically, the news media, the news reporter was they came and they tried to get the cops to come bust these people up. Like the news media, they show up, they put them all over TV, and then the news media is sitting there trying to get them kicked out of town. They're just a bunch of dirtbags, total dirtbags, these news media people. They're scum, all of them. Then another one. This guy had a big tent set up on one of the streets, and he had it all decked out. He had a video projector with a screen so he could sit there and watch TV, and like people would come chill out with him and watch TV with him and stuff. And it was really hilarious. And he was talking about how he's got this portable generator that he takes to a train station to get charged every now and then when he needs it charged. And he's been living out on the street for 2 years. And the one thing that stood out to me is the news reporter asked him, if we could find you housing, if we could find you a roof over your head, would you take it? And the guy was like, hell no. He's like, I've done that before. He looks at the news reporter and he says, you know, they treat me like garbage when I go into those places. Every time I walk in the door, I get wanded down with a metal detector. I'm not even allowed to have a lighter in my pocket. You know, I'm not allowed to bring half of my stuff with me. And he's like, when I went into that, I signed up for housing. I didn't sign up for rehab or to go back to prison. And I'm thinking, wow, man, you hit the nail on the head. I signed up for housing. I didn't sign up for rehab or going to prison. Those were almost his exact words. And I'm thinking, yeah, I know. I know. I was in prison. And there were less ridiculous rules in federal prison than there are at a homeless shelter. And I'm not kidding about that. And, you know, it feels like I got sent to prison because somebody else in my life was a piece of shit. And I'm the one who's getting punished for it. And, you know, I did my time in prison. I'm on probation now. I'm paying the price. I lost my home. I lost my vehicles. I lost my 25-plus year career. I lost my family, my friends. I lost pretty much everything I ever had in my entire life. But I guess I still haven't paid enough of a price. In fact, a lot of the trolls in the comments would agree with what I just said, that I should be paying for this for the rest of my life. Well, you know, fuck you. I'm going to get out of this mess, and I'm going to come out on top. And it's just a matter of time. You watch. I will not be paying for this for the rest of my life. I've already done my time. So, anyway, more positive note. Yesterday, I came home from my day-long, you know, stint at Tim Hortons. Did get my hair cut. Ended up having to go to Supercuts. Another weird thing about Jamestown, New York. My mind can't even wrap itself around this. There are something like 5 salons on every single block all over town. It's like one of the only businesses that people can open in this town. You basically have a bunch of boarded up windows, boarded up and condemned buildings, and a bunch of salons in every neighborhood. There's 5 per block, it seems. Yet when I need to get a haircut, it's almost impossible to get a haircut. And I'm not kidding. These places, you have to book an appointment 3 weeks in advance sometimes. And I'm like, there's a salon for every 5 residents of this town, and yet you can't get a haircut when you need one. So I went for the long walk and ended up going to Supercuts again. But, you know, since I'm in prison right now, since I got thrown back in prison, may as well just go get another prison haircut. You know, 5 minutes in and out, bzz, 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 done. And, you know, it's fine. I don't care. It feels so much better because the heat did kick up a little bit this week, and I have really thick hair. So within 6 weeks, the hair becomes, it's like a animal fur. It traps the heat, and I become a true hothead, and it becomes unbearable. And so yesterday it was so unbearable that I just decided I don't care where I go, I'm getting my hair cut today. I don't care what I have to do to make it happen. So it happened. I got it done. And to the woman's credit who did my hair, she was going to send me out the door because even they were packed and busy, and they were too busy to take on they were too busy to take on a walk-in without an appointment. But she kind of looks at me and she goes, I'll get you in. Come on. I'll get you done. Let's do this. And so, I got taken care of. The good Lord was walking with me. That would have been a 7-mile walk for nothing if I didn't get my hair cut. I would have been a little upset. But it's done. 6 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever it is. Hopefully I'm not homeless the next time I need my hair cut, or at least I have a job and something's going on. So I get back from a day of messing around, and I get back to the homeless shelter, and the one director pulls me in to have a conversation. And she essentially said, look, we really like you. We know that we've got a lot of silly rules, and that you don't give us any problems. We've never had to talk to you about anything. We've never had to write you up for anything. And I know we write people up for silly things all the time. And she goes, but we really, we appreciate the fact that you're patient with us, and we know that you're looking really hard for a job. And they kind of just went down this whole list of positive things to say. And so now they're offering me, they've got another floor in this place where they give people private rooms. And I don't know if it means I'd have a door that I can shut and actually have, feel like I'm in a private space. I don't know if there's a bunch more silly rules that go with having the room, and stacks of papers to fill out, and, book reports to turn in every week. And, I don't know what comes with it, because I've learned that, throughout life, you're going to get nothing for free in this life that doesn't come without a cost. So I'm just wondering, what's the catch? But it was nice to know that they acknowledge the fact that I am working hard. I am trying to build, put my life back together. They know some of the challenges I'm up against, and we do have good talks. There is a good side to these people, and there is a good side to this place. And I have done my homework in terms of hearing other people's stories and reading about how horrible some homeless shelters can be, and how dirty they can be, and how nasty they can treat people. And so, I've been saying all along that I think this is one of the better places you could end up, for sure. But there are going to be days where it just gets under my skin bad, for one reason or another. And, that's what this channel is. This channel is just the raw deal. Whatever it is that day, whatever it is I'm feeling, that's what's going to come out of my mouth. I'm not filtering it. I'm not editing. And I'm doing it every day. And I'm just, I wear my heart on my sleeve sometimes, and I'm not going to be able to shut that off. So that's that. That's the daily update. So tomorrow, some interesting, I told you I'm meeting all kinds of cool people. A lot of different things are popping up out of the woodwork because of this YouTube channel and the rate that it's growing. I get private emails all the time from you guys, cool comments, all kinds of things just kind of popping out of the woodwork that would have never happened if I didn't start doing this. So I'm glad I did. I know the first day that I started recording these videos, I just wasn't feeling it. I thought I was making a mistake. I thought, why am I doing this? And the only reason I did it is because I figured, YOLO, I can't make a Google search on my name any worse than it is. So, that was really the kicker. That was the thing that pushed it over the top and said, I got nothing to lose at this point, so may as well do it. So one of the people that I've been talking to, tomorrow I'm going to be doing a live stream with another YouTuber. His username is Truth Tiger. Go check his channel out. He's got about the same number of followers as I have on this channel. He does the same kind of thing. But tomorrow at 1 o'clock, I don't know if you can watch the stream on this channel, because I guess we're going to use the YouTube, some sort of YouTube Live Connect thing. I've never used it before, so who knows if it'll even work. But tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern time, I'll be doing a live stream with a dude named Truth Tiger. we'll see what happens. I'm probably going to be talking about some things that I don't talk about here. I'll be in the Jamestown Library in this little soundproof booth, so I can be as loud and obnoxious as I want without disturbing the library patrons. But, I'm sure we'll keep it civil. But yeah, check out the dude's channel. His format is a lot like mine. He just sits in front of the camera and talks. I've seen there's a lot of channels that operate this way with various degrees of professionalism. They might just be sitting in front of a phone like I'm doing, or they might have a professional studio with a boom microphone with, a pop filter and all of the professional gear. But, they're still just sitting in front of a camera talking to you and not really doing anything else. And so I'm going to call that the video podcasting genre, because it's a podcast. It's just a guy or a group of guys or gals sitting around talking about a subject. The only difference is they have a camera pointed at their face. I've had people tell me that I should convert this show into a podcast every time I do one of these episodes, and it wouldn't be that hard to do. But, once again, how much time do I have to spend on this every day? I also need to find a real job, because YouTube's not going to be paying my rent bill anytime soon. And even if I do reach that level, you got to keep in mind, YouTube has a habit of shutting people off and cutting off the monetization without warning. I've seen it happen to tons of content creators over the years. And it doesn't matter if you're political or not. I've seen it happen to people who don't spend any time talking about politics. The big problem here is that we've let these tech companies re-centralize the internet. When the internet first started to become popular, it was the Wild West. And it created a situation where we had the decentralization of content. You no longer had to rely on 3 television networks or a handful of cable companies and a small number of music and publishing companies telling you what you're allowed to see and hear. The internet opened up the floodgates and made it so anybody can say anything they want to the world, and anybody in the world can turn around and hear it and watch it. But now, the powers that be, they started to think, we can't have this. So now they're in the process of gobbling up all the most successful platforms, locking them down, censoring people, and bringing us back into that world where just a small handful of people get to decide what you see and hear. So before I go off the rails on some political rant, I'm just going to say once again, check out Truth Tiger. Give him a subscribe or two. He has a growing channel. He likes to talk a lot about narcissists and other topics along those lines, and just people and relationships in general. I'll have a feeling that we'll talk about what happened to me, why I got arrested, some of those background things that you guys have been asking me about. So it's probably worth your time to check it out, either on the live stream or I know YouTube saves these things so that you can come back and watch later. So, one way or another, check it out. Hopefully the library Wi-Fi doesn't take a dump tomorrow, but I'll try to have a backup connection with my phone's hotspot if it does. The fastest Wi-Fi I have access to right now is the Jamestown McDonald's, but you saw a couple videos ago what happens if I try and set up there. So tomorrow, Monday, July 8th at 1 p.m. on the Truth Tiger channel. Check them out. I have other irons in the fire and some other collaborations and things of that nature, but this is a good spot for a story like this, and enough time has passed that I'm fine talking about it now. I would say within the first couple of weeks of doing this podcast, I had a company reach out to me, and they are what I'd call a Christian podcasting company. And they offered to help promote my channel, generate podcast episodes, etc. And when I went and looked at their platform, these guys work with a bunch of big name corporate Christians, like Kirk Cameron. I don't know if you remember Kirk Cameron. He was one of these 80s television stars. I think it was like Who's the Boss or something like that. I don't remember what show it was. but he turned into like a big Christian preacher kind of guy. And, he's out there doing that thing. And there were just a bunch of other big name Christians who have podcasts, and this company basically manages them. And so I'm like, I was a little skeptical when I got this message from these guys. And so I wrote back and I said to them, I'm interested, but I would implore you to please watch all of my content and then let me know if you still want to work with me, because, I'm down with Jesus and I talk about God quite a bit, but I'm also a real guy. I curse from time to time, and I'm not editing it out of these videos, and I'm not trying to be this fake, clean-cut corporate Christian. I also told the guy to Google my name and make sure you read what comes up, because I don't want to be a stain on some good boy Christian radio network and become the Christian Howard Stern on the religious broadcasting network. You know what I'm saying? So I said all of this back to them. I said, if you're still interested, let me know. And it was silence. I've never heard back from these people since. Not even an email saying we're sorry, we don't think you'd be a good fit or anything, like just crickets, nothing. So of course, I never got a response back. Maybe they heard me talking about how much I can't stand the corporate Christian Jesus worship music machine with the soulless and uncreative regurgitated lyrics and the bland drum machine beats. Or maybe it was when I talked about the boss I had in the tech industry who told Tom Cruise to go fuck himself and then hurled a bunch of Scientology insults at him, or something along those lines. I'm going to have to get around to telling you that whole story. I've mentioned that a few times and I haven't told. But, now I'm giving you a reason to come back. It's going to happen any day now. Just keep coming back and I'll tell you the story at one of these videos coming up. But here's the deal, man. There are people who need to hear about Jesus, and they're never going to listen to these watered-down corporate Christian music machines and these corporate Christian goody two-shoes, podcasts. They're not. It's not for them. They're turned off by that stuff, and they're not gonna get interested in God because of that. They're not even going to they're not going to pay any attention to that stuff. They're not going to turn it on. I'm just a regular guy. I'm telling you my story and my experience, and I've gotten into why I believe in God, but I could definitely dig into those stories a lot more. I don't think I've shared the story of how I became a Christian in the first place several years ago. So these are all things that I'll be sharing with you, and things that I have shared with you. I've got just as many crazy stories about God that back up my belief in God as I have about my crazy career in the tech industry. And, I've attended lots of churches here and there. I don't know how to put it, but there are certain churches in neighborhoods where nothing bad ever happens. The suburban, quiet suburbia church. And when someone like me shows up to church, especially now with my criminal record and other things, I really don't feel comfortable getting to know people at these places, because there are a lot of churches who will shun someone like me, as soon as they find out that you're a sinner. Forget it. You're not one of them, and you're never going to be one of them. A lot of these places are a clique. And, it was the same back in the day of Jesus himself. I mean, the religious cliques and the self-righteous groups and all of that stuff, that goes back to the beginning of time. In fact, I was just at Crazy Tim Hortons, and I saw someone who comes into the homeless shelter volunteering from a local church. And I looked over to say hello, but she was with her church buddies, and it was kind of obvious that she didn't want to appear as if she knew me or recognized me, or, it was almost like she didn't want. I looked over to say hello, and she just kind of did this whole, hiding her face thing, like she didn't want to be. I can't be associated with one of those homeless people and around all of my church buddies, and it was kind of like that vibe. And I was just like, whatever. I just went back to hacking away on my laptop and didn't care. And I used to go to this church in Pittsburgh, and it was pretty much the opposite of that. It was a huge congregation, and I don't know if it's the same as when I was there back in the day, but when the founders built this church, they pushed back against a lot of people who wanted to put the church out in the desirable suburbs. And instead, they put this church right smack dab in the middle of the ghetto. And the reason for this, according to the founders, was that they wanted to put the church where the church was needed and bring God to a broken community in desperate need, instead of, putting it out in white picket fence America where, nobody ever has any problems. Out in the suburbs where everyone is so perfect and polite and nothing bad happens, and where the sinners don't go, So this church, it grew to the point where they have 4 services every weekend, and in spite of that, the place is still packed to the walls. It's a huge church, too. And it gets so packed that if you're not there early, you're going to be stuck in an overflow room watching church on a TV instead of in the sanctuary. And the place grew because it was a good thing in the community, and they do all kinds of good things in the community, and they basically put their mouth where their actions speak louder than words in that community, and it draws everybody to them. I mean, my mom came with me once to this place, and my mom was abused by the Catholic Church her whole life. I could do a whole series about the things that they did to her. So she wasn't into church or religion at all by this point, but she was almost in tears after the service that she went to with me, saying, this is what I always thought church was supposed to be. And she's like, my God, Adam, you see people from every walk of life here: black, white, brown, yellow, green, rich, poor, every walk of life. And it's an inviting atmosphere. And this pastor is really good. Wow. I mean, she was in shock. And, that's the place I used to go before I drifted away from going to regular church. But I've seen other churches. I've seen that some of these community churches are there for the benefit of the people who already know each other very well, and they all grew up together. And I'm not naming any specific places. I'm just saying I've seen varying degrees of this over the years, There were certainly cliques and different factions in that big church that I used to attend. I mean, the congregation was something like 4,000 people on any given weekend. I don't know. It was huge. But it definitely wasn't one of those mega churches by any means, and it definitely did not have that mega church feel, like that giant glass church in Texas with the guy who flies around in the private jets and all that stuff. Now, they're pretty humble, the people that run this place. The money goes back into the church. The money doesn't go into their mansions and private jets. They live pretty frugally from what I've been to some of their homes. I've been to some of their homes, and most of the pastors at that church, they live in the ghetto in cheap homes. I've been to their homes. So it's not like, I've got to know a lot of these people personally over the years that I was going there. So, I don't have anything bad to say about the place, but it's been a long time. The church that I'm going to go to today, that I'm getting ready to pack up and start walking to, they're in the same network of churches as this place in Pittsburgh. It's called the Missionary Alliance Church. They specialize in sending missionaries around the world, but the Allegheny Center Missionary Alliance Church in Pittsburgh was awesome. I used to go there so many years, but the lead pastor, he retired. His name was Rockwell Dillerman. Everybody called him Pastor Rock. If you look that name up on Google, you'll find all kinds of sermons that he's done. He's a great guy. All the people at that church, I could tell you so many good stories about that place. I drifted away from church. And, I've just, since I've been out of prison, I've been trying to, like I said, I skipped 2 weeks. And a big giant brawl broke out at the place that I was trying to sit and work at both weeks in a row. So I am not going to test the waters today. I am going to church. God, I don't want to know what God has in store for me today if I don't go to church. I don't want to find out. So I'm going. He's got me. I'm going. So I was thinking about going at the shelter today, but that's not going to work. I'm going to the Missionary Alliance Church here in town. I'll see what happens. I don't know. Keep an open mind. So now it's time for the plugs. I'm going to go make sure this video's still recording, because that would be a tragedy if it wasn't. Looks like it still is. I don't know if the audio's there, but, you know, maybe if you hear my... No, I'm just kidding, guys. I think the audio's fine. So, yeah, check out shop.litgood.com if you want to check out my photography and see what I'm up to. I think, you know, it's Sunday. Aside from doing a bunch of busy work garbage for the social services people that I got to get out of the way, I'm going to sit and work on connecting a shop with my YouTube channel. I also saw that there's a community tab now on the YouTube channel that was unlocked. Now that I'm getting close to all the monetization stuff, and I think I can start posting photography. Like I think I can do surveys, I can do other things like that. But I might just start posting photos on the community tab. So check that out. You know, it's basically like Twitter posts on YouTube that I even see other people's posts from time to time there. I might put up a few shorts, like I might put the McDonald's bar brawl up as a YouTube short. I don't know. There's some other things that might be okay for that. I don't know. I'm just time. How much time do I have? Today I'm going to try and put up a store that mimics what I have up on Etsy, but directly connected to the YouTube channel, so that from the way I understand that it works, you would be able to buy photographs right from the channel itself in the YouTube platform. Like I said, this is all new to me, so I picked a platform. I'm using Fourth Wall. There were 3 other platforms. I evaluated all of them, and I'm just going to go with my gut on this one and see how it goes. I'm in the process of, you know, messing around with that, trying to set it up. Sometimes these build-it-yourself cookie-cutter, template-driven sites are more of a pain, especially when you actually know how to build the stuff yourself from scratch. So, but sometimes you just have to let go of perfection and work with what they give you. And so I'm just going to be working on that today. And, you know, I don't like shaking a digital chicken bucket on the virtual sidewalk here, but since a lot of you reached out to me and wanted to see a donate link, you've got donate.litgood.com, which you could go there. You can, you know, I've got a PayPal form set up there. You can do that. There's also a donate link right below the video here on YouTube. I wouldn't use it if I were you, because on any creator's website, not just mine, because when you donate to a creator directly through PayPal or Google, when you donate to a creator directly through YouTube takes 30% of a cut. It's crazy. PayPal takes 3% or less. Something like 3%. It's credit card processing. When you pay with a credit card anywhere you go, the credit card processing company takes about 3% of the transaction, plus a flat fee of like pennies, a certain number of pennies per transaction, and that's a transaction fee. So for every $100 that you spend on your credit card, the credit card company takes $3, and it doesn't matter what processor you use. That's how they make their money. So we'll just leave it at that. We're at 34 minutes now, and you know, once again, tune in tomorrow at 1 p.m. Go to the Truth Tiger channel. I don't know if you'll be able to watch the stream here on this channel, but, you know, one way or another, you can watch a live stream tomorrow. Plus, I'll be doing the morning video as usual, unless something goes wrong. From there, hope y'all have a good Sunday. Peace.